Alright, so we have the full trenches done for our next project already. I have to say already because I didn't record anything, but we are quite a lengthy process into this project so far, with all the trenches, with also the boring all the way down across the full area. And you can probably guess by the title and thumbnail is that we are going to be working on a strider farm. Now, yes, why do we need a strider farm? We really don't. But like I said before, on people on stream, there is our last mob that we need to farm inside the nether here. So we have the Wither Skeleton, Magma, Gold, Blaze, Ogden we're going to redo very, very soon, and the Gas, which is all the mobs basically that we will then have completion of the Strider. So it's also one of our biggest perimeters we've done in the nether because we need it to be a full render distance because of how passive mobs spawn. So we can't really have anything whatsoever loaded within the render distance, so we need to have a full 532 perimeter to do so. Yeah, it's been a couple long streams. It's been at least a weekend or at least a week in the process of making this so far, with the boring across the full area as well as the trenches that we just completed. And now we're ready to start on the actual World Eater here. This is one of the same ones they used on Wave when they used for their big mega nether perimeter. So we are going to use that and go all the way across for this. This one is, you know, pretty reliable in the fact that it'll push down all the ancient debris without very many issues, which would be a huge help with the scale of a perimeter. And just the trenches alone, we've probably gotten around like 6 stacks of debris. So it's quite a bit so far already, but yeah, we're actually gonna build the World Eater now. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get a time lapse of it all too much just because of the scale, but maybe we'll get some time lapses of either the decoration or other stuff being built in this episode. Alright, so we just finished building up the World Eater here. Now it is time to launch it. We did, of course, make a backup because you never know. Especially with other World Eaters, you never know something could go wrong. We did verify both sides, though, so they are correct. But just to be on the safe side, you know, might as well. It doesn't take that too long to do so. As you can see, it only took a minute and a half, minute and a quarter basically to compress everything down with the textile backup mod. So now we're just ready to go. We have both the TNT side, we just finished off really quickly. And then we have the return side as well, that was also finished not too long to show this large scale here. But yeah, this is a pretty old World Eater, but it's one of the best ones because it has the full piston layer for like 100% reliability, I think, for pushing down all the debris, which is a huge thing for this scale because there's going to be so much of it. For 272 scale, really not that needed, but for this 532 perimeter scale, kind of is. Otherwise, it would just be kind of a pain to have all that debris sort of all over the place. But yeah, for this redstone block, we have the load bots in place. I have 3 just to be safe. That way nothing is, you know, unloaded. So we're going to do that. Let me actually move them a little bit over. Might do 4 just to be safe. So I might just do that before I move it. But yeah, this redstone block here is all that's keeping it from moving. So we'll remove that and we'll be back maybe once we're down with all the debris down there, if we don't already line that up. Alright, so I can definitely see here the perimeter has been, yeah, definitely cleared out. Got a lot of actually debris from here. This has been, you know, a while ago this was cleared out, as you can tell, because basically the full deco was done besides stuff that'll go in between the roof there. So yeah, this decoration is probably one of my favorites, especially the floor. The Strider turned out absolutely amazing for this scale, and as you can see in the center here, it's a 532 perimeter. So with the render distance of 20, you can see past it a little bit, but without it, you would only be rendering basically right up to the end there with the pillars for the wall decoration. So yeah, this area, I love how it turned out so far. That's when we get blown up when we do the Bedrock break-in anyway, so it's not big of a deal, but that's basically where it will stop. I think I would have to load Strider here. Let's load it. It should basically go right at the top of the Bedrock, like all of our other ones that we've done. It should line up perfectly, which it does. So yeah, we got to break all the way out to here. I might go a little bit further. That's probably the furthest I'll go for the bedrock break-in, because then it'll line up perfectly with that, which will be really cool. But yeah, so that's everything that we have so far. I don't know if we're gonna get to we might get to the actual, farm and stuff like that. We're still gonna design that, because there's really not one that is designed for breaking the bedrock roof, as well as it being inside of a full perimeter. There's really only the one that I've seen from Peaceful, where the Peaceful challenge where Sidecraft did that, but overall, there's really nothing that we have to basically go off of, and we're not going to break the bottom floor just because there's really no point to it. If you really cared about the rates that much, you could definitely do that, but I don't really think it's worth it at this point in time. I mean, you're not going to get anything to sharders in the first place, so I mean, the decoration on the floor I think looks better anyway than breaking the floor. So you can see here, this is what the strider looks like. It's got the little baby strider on the top with the little tongue out. It's one of my favorite arts that I have for here. So let's see if in the map POV, it's absolutely amazing just because of how sick it looks on a 532 scale. It's very high quality, kind of like we have a couple of them in the Overworld for the Strider, and also the old Magma. Looks even great on that small-ish scale there. But yeah, so we get this one here. It's time to do the bedrock break-in, and at the time we're recording this now, there was a new modification for Wretchen's Loop Breaker, which doesn't require lazy chunks, and it is also nether compatible now thanks to JKM. That they kind of just modified the way it recycles the pistons with lock-in hoppers and an extra hopper line. So it does mean we're going to invest a little bit more hoppers, but I mean, hoppers aren't really hard to get. It's literally just wood and iron, which we have millions and millions and millions of. So I'm actually going to get started on that, and we'll be back once that is sort of, started, because it is quite an interesting concept, and I think some people might want to use this if they haven't used the Beppo breaker that I have used previously. That one, you need a supplier. This one, you don't need to supply any pistons really. It recycles the pistons that's already in the buffer that you have in the front, so it's really easy to basically work with, which I think will make large bedrock breaking projects really, really good. And this one says it's not, fully safe, but there are measurements in place to stop the breakers from colliding into each other if one does break. However, because we're literally all in another like waste biome or Crimson Forest, and that we don't have any basalt to worry about as far as I can remember. There wasn't any basalt anywhere within this perimeter, which made it obviously an ideal location to pick out originally, but it also means that the bedrock break-in will be easier because everything is low blast resistance, because it's all just going to be netherrack inside of the bedrock up there. So we should be chilling. Makes the bedrock break-in a heck of a lot easier. So enough rambling, let's get on to the break-in, and I'll come back once I actually have one that I can show off. Alright, so the bedrock break-in is still going on the nether side here. So this is the Overworld side perimeter that we got very, very lucky with, as you can tell. It's a pure ocean. It's not luck at all. And yeah, so it's been quite a while since we started working on this perimeter. I mean, it's been a few days, but we got all the trenches all cleared out. And you may notice these are actually smooth walls. That's only because we decided to mine them out. Because there's really nothing else that we can do very well. You can see I even tried to use the waterlogged stairs on the edges, and I attempted to use a sweeper. I attempted to use a trencher on the one side here, but it was getting too annoying because you had to keep replacing stuff and all this stuff. So ultimately I just decided to just mine them out. I mean, once they were all drained out down to about Y30-ish or so, it's really just mining a couple blocks. It's not too bad. I mean, I went up a little bit. Rubik helped a lot, as well as COD. So overall, they're not that bad to just mine them out, because it's just a small trench rotator that I also did use from Euler. So yeah, this is all ready to go. I'm going to, probably the smart thing to do would be to stop the breakers before I take a backup, and then go from there. So I'll probably do that because we got quite a while to go. I mean, it's only 60 layers because of the ocean, which is a good thing. So it will not take that long to do. However, there's still quite a bit of obsidian to mine because of the ocean and the ravines, with all the lava being turned to obsidian. I think the smart thing to do, however, is to wait until it gets pretty close to this layer, if not like on top of it, and super gets stuck. Otherwise, we would get a bunch of water leaking in, and overall, just wouldn't be a fun time. So I think that's a smart thing to do, especially for those ravines. Everything else, there's actually a double spawner here. We got a skelly, and we got a double skelly, like 5 blocks away from each other. That's pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, everything else should be pretty okay to do. The beacons, we don't care about the gold, so it's just going to get blown up. It'll be more work to mine it up than it would be to get the gold back. We took the beacons out, obviously, to mine the trenches, but yeah, I think I have a bot here to load everything. I do. We also had to get rid of all the kelp. That didn't take very long, maybe like 15 minutes or so. It's not that big of a deal. It's better than having to build a kelp-safe road eater, just because of the size of the trenches. So this one is already worth it in of it itself. So we got to work on this, and then once we come back, basically, we're working on the overworld side. We have some cool things planned out for this. I'm very happy with what this overworld side is going to look like, especially if we're going to be copying the same sort of style as all of the other ones that we've done for like the magma, the blaze, the ghast, and yeah. So we'll be back once this is all done, and we'll be ready to go from there. Alright, so as we're working on the Strider farm perimeter, we do have a couple other things we need to take into consideration. For the server here, we have quite a few number of areas that are constantly loaded. Spawn is pretty much not an issue for the nether because we don't have anything there besides our chunk loader for our nether mob switch, which is this one right here. We'll have the one for the shadow hall, which is by main storage, which isn't going to be too bad, and then of course the one by the nether mob switch. Now the one by the nether mob switch is going to be the most difficult because we're going to basically have to disassemble the switch while we work on that, so probably won't even have a full functional switch at that point in time, which is obviously not ideal, but overall this won't take too long to do. I'm hoping we can at least keep part of the switch, that way it's not too difficult to worry about, but yeah, we are using this dispenser grid by Floppy. I have used it in the past and it worked wonders. I think it's going to work wonders in the overworld here, or in the nether here. I don't know if it's going to reach all the way to the bottom. That's why 107 is the floor, so I know it does down it to the TNT. I can't remember exactly how many layers it goes, but if we get close enough, I think that's good. Once we get the lava layer, though, it's going to take a little bit of time to obviously drain that out because, yeah, it's not going to deal with that. It's just a dispenser grid. That's really all it is to it, but it was amazing to use previously, and I think I used it for a 5x5 chunk area in the overworld, and I had it all the way down to Bedrock within about 2 hours, I want to say. So overall, it's pretty decent, and we don't have to do a full 5x5 here because we have our fish farm decoration right near there, which we are still working on in the progress as well, but kind of a little bit of a section here cut off, which isn't too bad. Like a tenth of the dispensers are not there, but overall, it's not going to be too big of a difference anyway. But yeah, 5x5 chunk area is what we need to clear out for the Striders. So I'm going to get on with this and we'll see how we go. I don't think I'm going to time-lapse this just because of the fact we have to deal with so much lava at the bottom. And, you know, it's not as smooth sailing as the overworld is for the most part, but we'll get it done. And we're going to do this at least 2 more times. Maybe only 1 more time because the one by the Shadow Hall is basically all air, so we can just mine that one out really easily. And then we'll have to go see what we want to do with the nether mob switch, because that's going to be the most difficult one to do. Otherwise, we keep the mob switch active and we play at like 80 ms on the server for a little bit while we work on this. I don't know, we'll see what we'll come up with, and we'll be back once those are all done, and we're basically finishing this project off. Alright, I know it's going to be a pretty big cut, but we have the full perimeter done. Farm and everything overworld side is also fully done, and we have cleared out all of the required areas needed. Down here we have our nether mob switch loader, which you can tell it's all cleared out. When I first started clearing this stuff out, I was under the impression that a 5x5 area is what was required for passive mobs and a chunk loader itself. However, upon researching a little bit more, we did find out and confirm that a chunk loader does actually load a 7x7 area for entities. They will count towards the mob cap. So what that means is we had to do a little bit of expansion afterwards. So we just put this stone wall on top of the lava outside of the area here. Because we just need to stop Shiders from spawning, that air block is what they need to spawn. So we're hoping that that's what it does. So even if we go near this for whatever reason down the line, if any new Shiders spawn on the outside or they're right there, they won't be able to get in there because the stone's blocking them. They can't jump any blocks or things like that. So hopefully that works. And we also have two other areas over here. You can tell it really much with this one because it was all lava on the outside here. So we have the area also cleared out there and there. That way, this is our spawn where our overworld switch is. And then this is where our main storage on the other side is, where we have our shadow hall and things like that. It's always loaded. So we needed to clear those areas out. That way we don't have any passive mobs anywhere. So if I lower the render, so we do play on 20 normally. If I lower the view distance down to 12, you can see we have no passive mobs, which is good. And now I gotta just sync the clock here once the spawns happen, which we should get in 20 seconds. Obviously, the spawn-in for passive mobs is every 20 seconds, so looks like we just missed it because none of them are spawning as of right now. We've got to sync it this way. We really can't get a passive mob detector in the nether because those mobs really can't be killed all too easily. So I do that, sync them up, and we have the flying machines that'll go push them into the portal there. So now I will head to the overworld. They're going to despawn because we have actually actually passive mobs don't despawn, so I am wrong. Don't gotta worry about that. We have to turn the bat switch off as well. But yeah, we have everything here. Get my sword out to get the loot in. Since that's the whole sort of purpose for this farm, instead of making a single dimension farm, we wanted to have a dual dimension where we can get the loot in from it. And then we can just get there. We have an armor stand in there if we need to, but we shouldn't. And then we have the shulker box loader right there. See, it's going to be really slow, but I forgot about the mob heads. So the shulker box loader is not going to work because of the mob heads. We can take them out manually if we can, but it's going to put it all in there, unfortunately. I didn't think about that. Get this armor stand out of there, too, while I'm at it. So yeah, we're not going to use this farm anyway. It's not like it really matters that we're going to get that. So yeah, I would definitely need a mixed shulker box loader here. You have the mob head data pack, like we do for vanilla tweaks as well. You have all these guys floating around here, but yeah, the nether overworld side here, I am very, very pleased with. This castle turned out absolutely amazing, and the floor beneath it here, so looks absolutely perfect. I think this complements the castle very well, especially when it, right in the middle, there's that there, and it perfectly wraps around the back circle there, and then in the front you have the two that meet, so you walk right in if you were to do that. As you can tell, even with dual dimension, passive mob farms are really, really slow. So there's really no way to get a really good farm out of these that'll be worth your effort. This was just one of our last nether-based mobs that we needed to farm, so we went ahead and did this project. Overall, it looks the best, but it is the most useless farm that we had on the server because there's so many other ways to get string. Overall, this area looks amazing. It's not going to be very functional. We got a couple more sharders coming in here, so we'll get them up here. So yeah, what I could do is probably just, filter this off if I wanted to instead. Just have string. So I could probably do that with the back here. I could modify it a little bit. I could probably fit a comparator readout on the back here and do a sort of modified version of an item filter that's only one hopper. Obviously, I don't think that'll work all too well, but we could make it work in some way and put the string in there. Like I said, we're not going to use it all too much, so I really don't think it's needed at this point. So the farm's not going to be released just because of the fact that the Striders do have a chance to spawn with a baby on top of them. So that's not going to work because they won't go through the portal that way. So unfortunately, this farm is technically it does work. It'll just bottleneck itself once the mob cap is filled, unfortunately. At the time of recording this, a new update is about right around the corner here, and some new mechanics were actually introduced that I was not expecting whatsoever. That will actually make this farm work in 1.21 and above, because it's now no longer a game rule or a bug. Entities with passengers on them will now go through the portal anyway, so that means that this farm design will actually work. And yeah, basically what that means is you can fit to get right about a shulker box of string per hour with this design. If you decide to, for some reason, make this project there, you definitely could. And yeah, it would actually work as expected, because those striders will all go through the portal regardless if they're having a little baby on the top or not. Same with the, anything else that would spawn on these guys. So yeah, that's a very interesting thing, to say the least. I was not expecting. So yeah, if you wanted to make this design, you definitely could. It's still not a worth farm at all, but if you need the string for some reason, or you're like us and you want to have, a farm for every single type of mob in the game, then you will probably need to make it if you wanted to do that. But yeah, I'll get out of your way and we'll go back to getting this area wrapped up. But I did also find a way that you can sort of counter this. But then again, farms are usually designed to be AFK, which you could do with something right here, doing that. But what you can technically do, get a bow and arrow from the top AFK spot up here. What you can do, you can see the guys that aren't going through the portal. We actually don't have any of them right now, which is kind of surprising. But this guy right here, not going through the portal, you can just shoot him, and you're good to go. So you can do that, and that guy is on the outside as well. So we got to get rid of this guy. So as you can tell, it's not perfect. It was sort of just thrown together within an hour or so. Getting the portal layout and everything like that. We tried putting Wither Roses beneath it, but overall they can't spawn in it because it's not considered air blocks, so we can't do that, and there's really no other way to combat them spawning with the riders on top with this design. So maybe someone has some better ideas here to do that. And yeah, but overall everything is all done here. I loved it, especially this nether side decoration here. The strider looks absolutely amazing. I can't get over it. I had to make this art. It looks so good and everything like that. So yeah, these will also be available on the AutoCraft website if you want to get your hands on the schematic, the castle included, everything like that. So you get the full decoration on the other side and the castle separately if you wanted to do so. But you can see the guy right there that I was talking about. So you just got the right arrow right there, and we get rid of the little guy on top. The strider that is on there will then go through the portal. If you would stop moving for 2 seconds, that'd be great. But there it goes, and then the strider will go through the portal once that rider is not there. That's kind of an oversight by me. That's really my bad, but overall, it's not too bad. We're never going to use it. But yeah. This project was a very interesting one, to say the least. Unfortunate the way it turned out, but that's what you get for not testing farms the way, it's going to work, and kind of an oversight when you don't think about, the striders, that they have the chance to spawn with stuff on top of them. But yeah, obviously there's no impact on the server whatsoever with this type of farm inside of a perimeter. Yeah. Make sure you like, subscribe, watch the things, and I'll see you in the next one.